Hello friends! Have you ever wondered what happens when two fiery Aries souls meet, but each carries a very different Chinese zodiac influence, one born under the calculating and mysterious snake, and the other under the playful, unpredictable monkey? On the surface, they're both Aries, driven, passionate, quick to act, and almost allergic to boredom. But once you add the snake's depth and intensity to one Aries, and the monkey's wit and trickster energy to the other, sparks can fly in the most fascinating and, at times, challenging ways. This isn't just a simple compatibility story, it's a tale of fire meeting fire, wrapped in the cleverness of two very different animal spirits. Let's explore this dynamic step by step. Love. When Aries Snake and Aries Monkey fall in love, it is not a gentle beginning, nor is it something that tiptoes into existence. It arrives like a thunderstorm on a summer night, loud, bright, and impossible to ignore. At first glance, there is an undeniable magnetism between them. Both are Aries, and Aries never do anything halfway. They throw themselves into life, into passion, into love with a reckless abandon that terrifies most people but fascinates each other. Yet beneath that shared Aries fire, their Chinese zodiac influences shape the way they give and receive love in radically different ways. The Aries snake is the embodiment of allure mixed with calculation. They do not simply fall, they coil, they observe, and then they strike with precision. When they love, they pour not just passion into the connection but strategy. Every touch feels intentional, every compliment carefully crafted to deepen the bond. They see love as an art form, a slow seduction that grows more potent with time. There is a sense of mystery around them, as though they are always holding back a secret, keeping just enough distance to make their partner ache for more. In contrast, the Aries monkey bursts into love like a confetti cannon. For them, romance is an adventure, a playground, a never-ending game of chase and laughter. They flirt with ease, charm without effort, and constantly reinvent their ways of showing affection. Where the snake lingers with a slow-burning gaze, the monkey grins wide, cracks a joke, and sweeps their lover off their feet with sheer spontaneity. Their love is a performance, fun, vibrant, unpredictable, and endlessly entertaining. So what happens when the snake and monkey collide in the arena of love? At first, it is intoxicating. The snake finds themselves unable to look away from the monkey's energy. The monkey glitters like a diamond under the sun, bright, sparkling, dazzling from every angle. The snake, who often prefers depth over surface brilliance, is shocked to find how much they enjoy basking in the monkey's constant playfulness. The monkey, on the other hand, is drawn to the snake's aura of mystery. To them, the snake feels like a forbidden book on the highest shelf, enigmatic, dangerous, and irresistible to explore. Their romance becomes a dance between shadow and light. The snake pulls the monkey into deep waters of intimacy, demanding a level of emotional seriousness the monkey rarely gives freely. The monkey, in turn, lifts the snake into the skies of humor and adventure, ensuring that the relationship never becomes suffocatingly intense. Together, they create a push and pull, one diving inward, the other leaping outward, yet both captivated by the gravitational pull that keeps them circling each other. But let's not sugarcoat it. Their love is not without friction. The snake, in love, often hungers for control. They want to know their partner is fully theirs, body and soul. They prefer bonds that are unshakable, unbreakable, often expecting loyalty that feels absolute. The monkey, however, recoils at the thought of being trapped. They are fiercely independent, even in love, and while they may be deeply committed, they need space to breathe, to wander, to experiment. Where the snake tries to weave love into an unbreakable net, the monkey constantly wriggles free, insisting that true love should never feel like a cage. These differences can create storms. The snake may accuse the monkey of being shallow or untrustworthy, frustrated by their playful nature. The monkey, in turn, might laugh at the snake's intensity, teasing them for being too serious or dramatic. And yet, despite the clashes, they find themselves returning to each other again and again, because the chemistry is simply too strong to ignore. It's the kind of love where arguments turn into passionate reconciliations, where frustration melts into laughter, and where the very tension between them becomes part of the attraction. On their best days, this love is transformational. The monkey learns from the snake how to look deeper, how to move beyond surface thrills into something more soulful. They discover that intimacy is not just about excitement, but about surrender, about being vulnerable enough to let another person truly see them. The snake, in turn, learns from the monkey how to lighten up, how to embrace joy without overthinking, and how to find beauty in the chaos of unpredictability. The monkey teaches the snake that sometimes love is not a chess game, it's a roller coaster ride, and the point isn't to control it but to scream and laugh together as it plunges forward. When they balance these lessons, their love becomes unforgettable. The snake brings depth, the monkey brings light. The snake whispers secrets in the quiet of the night, while the monkey cracks jokes at dawn. They build a love that is both magnetic and alive, mysterious and joyful. It is not easy love, but it is passionate love, love that refuses to be dull, love that constantly challenges them to grow. And maybe that's the most important truth about Aries Snake and Aries Monkey in love: they cannot stand boredom. If they want a love that endures, it must always feel alive. It must keep them guessing, surprising, laughing, and longing. The snake gives the monkey roots, the monkey gives the snake wings. And though their differences can feel like battle lines, those same differences, when respected, become the reason their love never burns out. Marriage. Now imagine these two in a long-term commitment, not just the sparks of an early romance, but the steady, day-to-day rhythm of building a life together. Marriage between Aries Snake and Aries Monkey is like entering a house where every room tells a different story. In one room, there's laughter echoing, full of jokes, mischief, and wild ideas. In another room, there's intensity, deep conversations whispered in the dark, secrets guarded, plans being made for a future that feels both ambitious and demanding. To live in such a house means constantly moving between playground and battlefield, never quite sure which door you'll open next. The Aries Snake partner is, by nature, someone who values stability. They want marriage to be a fortress, a sanctuary where loyalty is unquestionable and trust is sacred. They take vows seriously, and once committed, they see their spouse as theirs, not in a casual sense, but with the full weight of possession and devotion. To the snake, marriage is not just a legal bond but a merging of souls, and they are relentless in making sure that union stays intact. They crave depth in every exchange, shared secrets, meaningful silences, and a sense of being truly known. The Aries Monkey, however, approaches marriage with a completely different energy. They value the bond, yes, but they also value freedom inside it. For them, marriage should not feel like a contract carved in stone but more like a playground where both partners continue to grow, evolve, and surprise each other. The monkey doesn't necessarily crave infidelity or escape, but they do crave variety. They dislike the weight of monotony and resist routines that make life feel too predictable. They want laughter over solemnity, adventure over repetition, and freedom over control. And here lies the tension. To the snake, the monkey's playful nature can sometimes look careless or immature. The snake might wonder, do they really take this seriously? Do they understand how much weight love carries? To the monkey, on the other hand, the snake's seriousness can feel stifling. They might think, why does everything have to be so heavy? Why can't love breathe and flow instead of being locked down in rules and expectations? Arguments in this marriage often circle around these themes. The snake wants proof of devotion, gestures of loyalty, and assurance that the monkey won't drift away. The monkey wants trust, space, and the ability to remain themselves without being suffocated by the snake's intensity. It can look like a tug of war, one pulling for closeness, the other for space. And yet, despite the push and pull, both remain fascinated by the other, because deep down they admire what they themselves lack. When this marriage works, it works beautifully because the partners learn to give each other exactly what the other is missing. The snake, though initially wary, can learn to trust the monkey's restless energy, recognizing that freedom does not equal betrayal. They begin to see that the monkey's playfulness is not recklessness but a way of keeping life vibrant. The monkey, meanwhile, learns to respect the snake's need for security, realizing that love is not just fun and games, it requires loyalty, dedication, and responsibility. The monkey may even come to appreciate the grounding influence of the snake, who ensures that their shared life has direction and meaning. Together, they can build a marriage that is both stable and exciting, a rare balance that many couples struggle to find. Their household might be filled with contradictions, moments of intense passion followed by bursts of humor, long nights of deep talks balanced by spontaneous weekend getaways. Yet those contradictions are what make the bond so alive. They are not a quiet couple, nor are they ordinary. They are the couple everyone watches, half in awe and half in confusion, wondering how such opposites manage to keep walking side by side. Of course, not every day is harmony. The snake may still have moments of suspicion, fearing that the monkey's wandering spirit might lead them astray. The monkey may still chafe under the snake's intensity, wishing their partner would lighten up. But if they remind themselves that their differences are not flaws but complementary strengths, the marriage transforms from a battlefield into a partnership of equals. The snake becomes the anchor, holding the union steady when storms arise. The monkey becomes the spark, keeping the fire alive long after the honeymoon glow has faded. What makes their marriage enduring is not perfection but resilience. They fight, they clash, they challenge each other, but they also forgive, laugh, and keep returning to the bond they've built. For them, marriage is not about peace and quiet, it's about growth and energy. It's about building a life that is never dull, a life that constantly demands more from them yet rewards them with the kind of passion and loyalty most people only dream of. In the end, marriage between Aries Snake and Aries Monkey is not the calm after the storm, it is the storm itself, swirling, dramatic, and alive. It is not for the faint of heart, but for those two fiery spirits, it may be exactly what keeps them both burning bright. Sex. Here's where things get truly fiery, because in the bedroom the relationship between Aries Snake and Aries Monkey transforms from a simple pairing into something almost mythical. Both are Aries, which already means passion is not optional but inevitable. But passion alone is not enough to describe what happens when these two collide behind closed doors. The snake, wrapped in mystery and deliberate intention, wants every touch to linger, every kiss to burn like a slow flame that consumes everything in its path. The monkey, with boundless curiosity and playful invention, leaps into intimacy like an acrobat, bringing surprise, laughter, and endless creativity to the act. The Aries snake views sex as a ritual. For them, it is not only a physical release but a sacred ceremony that binds bodies, minds, and souls into one. They crave depth. They want their partner to remember every moment, every sensation, as though it were carved into memory. A snake does not waste intimacy on the meaningless, they turn it into an art form, orchestrating rhythm, timing, and intensity like a maestro conducting a symphony. Slow, deliberate, hypnotic, these are the hallmarks of their sensuality. To the snake, intimacy is about control and surrender simultaneously. They guide, they lead, they draw their partner into a space where vulnerability and ecstasy blur into one. The Aries Monkey, however, brings an entirely different approach. For them, intimacy is play, a grand experiment, a chance to test the boundaries of pleasure and imagination. They are curious, daring, and endlessly inventive. Where the snake lingers, the monkey surprises. They introduce variety, spontaneity, and humor into the act, reminding their partner that sex can be joyful as well as intense. One night they may set the room ablaze with wild creativity, and the next they may turn intimacy into something lighthearted, teasing, and full of laughter. To the monkey, intimacy should never become predictable, it should be a kaleidoscope, changing with every encounter. When these two approaches meet, the combination is explosive. The snake, who can sometimes veer toward intensity so profound it borders on suffocation, finds the monkey's lightness refreshing. The monkey shakes the snake free from routines, coaxing them into new experiences and helping them embrace variety. Meanwhile, the monkey, who can sometimes flit across the surface of intimacy without diving deeper, is astonished by the snake's ability to create such depth and power from a single glance, a single touch. They learn that intimacy is not only about novelty, but about connection so profound it leaves a mark on the soul. Their chemistry together is electric because they are not merely compatible, they are complementary. The snake teaches the monkey that slowing down can intensify every sensation, that patience in intimacy makes desire build until it's nearly unbearable. The monkey teaches the snake that laughter, spontaneity, and experimentation can make sex not only passionate but joyful. Together, they create a rhythm that is neither entirely slow nor entirely fast, neither purely serious nor purely playful. It is a rhythm that belongs to them alone, a dance of fire and air, shadow and light. Of course, as with every aspect of their relationship, challenges arise. The snake may sometimes find the monkey's joking nature disruptive to the sacred atmosphere they wish to create. They may interpret the monkey's constant need for novelty as a lack of seriousness or even as a threat to loyalty. The monkey, in turn, may occasionally feel stifled by the snake's intensity, wishing for freedom instead of the heavy emotional weight that often accompanies the snake's desires. They may resist when the snake tries to orchestrate every detail, preferring instead to keep intimacy light and unpredictable. Yet these very tensions, when navigated with respect, deepen their bond rather than weaken it. The snake, by loosening their grip, learns to find beauty in chaos. The monkey, by embracing the snake's intensity, discovers a depth of intimacy they might otherwise never experience. What begins as a clash of styles becomes a fusion, one partner grounding the experience in sensuality and soul, the other elevating it with creativity and joy. In their intimacy, physical pleasure is only the beginning. For the snake, every encounter is a chance to weave a deeper emotional tether, binding their partner closer. For the monkey, every encounter is a new adventure, proof that love and sex are living, breathing forces that must constantly evolve. Together, they turn intimacy into both a ritual and a playground, a paradox that works because neither allows the other to settle into mediocrity. If they can appreciate each other's styles instead of clashing, their intimacy becomes one of their strongest bonds, perhaps even the glue that keeps them together through storms outside the bedroom. Because when they close the door, they step into a world that belongs only to them, a world where passion, laughter, vulnerability, and experimentation merge into something unforgettable. For Aries Snake and Aries Monkey, sex is not just physical, it is alchemy. It is where shadow meets light, where control meets freedom, where intensity meets playfulness. It is where they remember, again and again, why they chose each other despite their differences. And in that sacred, fiery space, their love is reborn each time. Friendship. In friendship, these two are unstoppable, not because they are alike, but because they are so strikingly different that they fill in each other's missing pieces. When an Aries snake and an Aries monkey meet as friends, sparks fly in a way that feels less like romance and more like the thrill of two adventurers discovering a hidden treasure map. They look at each other and immediately recognize something magnetic. The monkey sees someone who carries mystery and quiet power, and the snake sees someone who glows with a kind of carefree brightness. From the very beginning, there is a sense of curiosity that quickly evolves into loyalty, laughter, and deep respect. The Aries monkey brings the kind of energy into the friendship that turns ordinary afternoons into unforgettable stories. They are spontaneous, humorous, and endlessly restless. They call the snake in the middle of the night with a wild idea, drag them to places they never thought they'd go, and fill every moment with playful unpredictability. They crack jokes in tense situations, lighten heavy moods, and make the friendship feel like a living adventure. With the monkey around, there is always something happening, always a new story to tell. The Aries snake, in contrast, brings grounding and wisdom. They are the friend who sees beneath the surface, who notices details that others overlook, and who can steer the monkey away from reckless choices with quiet, steady words. They offer intuition, guidance, and a kind of emotional stability that the monkey sometimes doesn't realize they need until it's there. While the monkey thrives on speed and surprise, the snake thrives on depth and strategy, making them the anchor that ensures the friendship doesn't spin completely out of control. Together, they balance each other beautifully. The monkey helps the snake lighten up, teaching them that life doesn't always have to be planned and calculated, that sometimes it's okay to dive into the unknown without a map. The snake, in return, teaches the monkey the value of patience, strategy, and self-awareness. The snake slows the monkey down just enough to think before leaping, saving them from mistakes that could have lasting consequences. This balance makes their bond dynamic and fulfilling. But friendship is not without its challenges. The snake might, at times, find the monkey's constant joking or flighty behavior exhausting. To someone who values depth and seriousness, the monkey's refusal to stay still can feel like chaos. The snake might roll their eyes at yet another impulsive plan or feel frustrated when the monkey seems incapable of sitting in silence without filling it with chatter or laughter. The monkey, on the other hand, might feel weighed down by the snake's intensity. They may think their friend is too serious, too brooding, or too demanding of emotional depth when all they want is to keep things lighthearted. And yet, these differences are not barriers, they are opportunities. When both learn to respect each other's ways of being, the friendship transforms into something rare. The snake discovers joy in laughter and learns that not every silence must be profound, while the monkey realizes the value of having a friend who won't abandon them when the party ends, who will sit with them in the darker moments when laughter alone isn't enough. Their bond becomes layered, built on humor, yes, but also on trust, understanding, and an unspoken promise that neither will walk away when things get difficult. What makes this friendship particularly rewarding is its ability to grow over time. In youth, their bond may revolve around adventures, jokes, and wild stories. As they age, the snake may become the monkey's advisor, offering wisdom and perspective, while the monkey reminds the snake to keep embracing life's surprises. They evolve together, weaving a friendship that adapts to the seasons of their lives. They are not static companions, they push, challenge, and inspire each other constantly. There's also an element of secrecy and trust that runs deep between them. The snake, who rarely opens up fully, may share secrets with the monkey that they tell no one else, because the monkey's non-judgmental energy makes them feel safe. The monkey, who hides their own vulnerabilities behind laughter, may let the snake see their softer, more fragile side. This exchange of hidden truths deepens the friendship beyond surface-level fun. It becomes a bond of souls as much as a bond of personalities. When they are together, people notice. Their friendship radiates energy, sometimes chaotic, sometimes serene, but always magnetic. They can be the pair laughing loudly in a corner, planning spontaneous adventures, or sitting quietly side by side in a moment of rare stillness, both comfortable in the silence they usually resist. To outsiders, their bond may seem unlikely, but to them, it feels natural, like two halves of a coin, different but inseparable. At its best, friendship between Aries Snake and Aries Monkey is a lifelong journey of mutual growth. They remind each other of what truly matters. The snake reminds the monkey to slow down and see the beauty in depth, while the monkey reminds the snake that joy and laughter are just as important as wisdom and strategy. They are both teachers and students to each other, constantly exchanging lessons in patience, humor, resilience, and openness. If they allow space for each other's differences instead of trying to change one another, this friendship becomes a sanctuary. It's a place where the snake can laugh without fear of losing their depth, and where the monkey can be serious without losing their brightness. It's a friendship filled with adventures, secrets, laughter, and unshakable loyalty. A bond that, once formed, is nearly impossible to break. Business. Now, what about when these two join forces in business? This is where the Aries Snake and Aries Monkey partnership begins to look less like a casual collaboration and more like a force of nature, one built on brains, boldness, and the irresistible pull of ambition. Both are Aries, which means they are naturally driven, competitive, and unwilling to sit quietly in the back row of life. Yet their Chinese zodiac influences make their business styles wildly different, and when combined, the result can be either a spectacular success story or a high-stakes clash of egos. The Aries Snake is the strategist. They are methodical, deliberate, and always thinking 3 moves ahead. Where others see only chaos, the snake sees patterns, and where others chase shiny distractions, the snake keeps their eyes fixed on the long-term prize. In business, they rarely make impulsive decisions. Instead, they calculate, weigh risks, and maneuver with precision. They operate with a quiet determination, the kind of persistence that slowly but surely builds power. People may underestimate them at first because they don't always shout about their achievements, but over time, their influence becomes undeniable. The Aries Monkey, on the other hand, thrives in the realm of creativity, spontaneity, and networking. They are the deal makers, the charismatic talkers who can walk into any room and leave with 10 new connections. Where the snake plans, the monkey improvises. They see opportunities everywhere and are fearless about seizing them on the spot. They're brimming with brilliant ideas, some practical, some wild, but always inventive. If the snake is the chess master, the monkey is the magician, pulling solutions out of thin air just when they're needed most. Put these two together, and you have a partnership that could, in theory, conquer industries. The snake ensures stability, grounding the venture with careful planning and shrewd decisions. They provide structure, strategy, and a protective shield against reckless risks. The monkey injects the venture with innovation, charm, and adaptability, ensuring that the business never stagnates. Together, they are like the engine and the spark. One keeps everything running smoothly, while the other ignites new directions and unexpected possibilities. Yet, as with everything involving these two fiery personalities, there is danger in the details. Power struggles are almost inevitable. The snake may feel that the monkey is too reckless, too prone to chasing shiny ideas that could collapse without warning. To the snake, the monkey's improvisation can sometimes look like chaos dressed in confidence. Meanwhile, the monkey may find the snake too controlling, too slow, and too rigid in their insistence on planning every step. To them, the snake's cautious nature might feel like chains around their neck, stifling their natural ability to leap into opportunities. When these clashes occur, the partnership can veer into tension, with both sides digging in. The snake tries to tighten their grip, while the monkey tries to wriggle free, creating a cycle of frustration. If left unchecked, this dynamic could derail their progress, leaving them exhausted instead of empowered. But if they learn to respect each other's talents, the results can be extraordinary. The snake must recognize that not every risk the monkey takes will end in disaster. Some of those leaps are what lead to breakthrough opportunities. The monkey must accept that not every idea can be acted on immediately, and that the snake's caution is not about control but about sustainability. When they meet in the middle, balancing instinct with strategy, they become unstoppable. In practice, their partnership might look like this. The monkey lands an incredible opportunity through sheer charm and quick thinking, then turns to the snake to analyze its long-term viability and design the structure to make it succeed. The snake, in turn, may identify a lucrative but slow building path, and the monkey brings it to life with energy, branding, and buzz. Each covers the other's blind spots, ensuring that their joint endeavors are not only exciting but also enduring. They are the kind of duo that could build empires, industries shaped not just by cautious planning or bold improvisation but by a fusion of both. The snake plays the mastermind, the architect of strategy, quietly weaving the threads of success behind the scenes. The monkey shines as the charismatic frontrunner, the public face of the venture, drawing people in with humor, charm, and vision. Together, they create a balance between visibility and depth, between risk and reward. When they get it right, their business ventures don't just succeed. They thrive, often standing out as bold, innovative, and surprisingly stable all at once. They bring the best of both worlds, the grounded wisdom of the snake and the sparkling ingenuity of the monkey. Few partnerships can claim such a blend of qualities, and fewer still can harness them with the kind of fiery energy Aries always brings to the table. Of course, this success depends on one essential factor: trust. The snake must trust that the monkey's restless creativity has value, even when it seems unpredictable. The monkey must trust that the snake's caution is not an anchor but a safeguard, ensuring their shared dreams don't burn out before they have a chance to shine. With trust, their business bond becomes legendary. Without it, their partnership risks collapsing under the weight of mistrust and clashing wills. In the end, Aries Snake and Aries Monkey in business are proof that opposites can do more than attract, they can achieve greatness. Their partnership is a constant negotiation between control and freedom, stability and chaos, long-term vision and spontaneous brilliance. It is not always easy, but when they manage to walk in step, they don't just build businesses, they build legacies. Dark sides. Every partnership has its shadows, and for Aries Snake and Aries Monkey, the dark sides are not soft whispers but sharp edges, cutting and undeniable. Both are Aries at the core, which means neither is meek, neither accepts defeat easily, and neither is willing to bow without a fight. When things are good, their fire blazes with brilliance. But when things go wrong, that same fire can scorch, leaving scars that take a long time to heal. The Aries Snake, when hurt or insecure, can sink into patterns that feel suffocating for their partner. Their natural intensity, when twisted by fear, becomes control. They may start monitoring, testing, and even manipulating. Instead of trusting the bond, they coil tighter, wrapping their partner in emotional games designed to prove loyalty. What begins as love can slide into obsession, where every joke or playful adventure from the monkey feels like a threat. The snake, ruled by the fear of betrayal, can hide their vulnerability behind coldness, secrecy, or even silent punishments. They might withdraw into themselves, making the monkey guess at what they're thinking, or they might lash out with subtle control, pulling strings to trap the monkey in their emotional net. The Aries Monkey, in turn, has their own shadow when pushed too far. They thrive on freedom, and when they feel caged, they rebel. But their rebellion isn't always clean or honest. It can be deceptive, cunning, even cruel. The monkey knows how to charm, but they also know how to cut with words sharper than knives. When cornered by the snake's control, they might mock the snake's seriousness, laugh at their insecurities, or break promises just to prove they cannot be restrained. They can become unreliable, slipping away into distractions or creating chaos simply to prove they are still in charge of themselves. For all their humor and charisma, when they feel pressured, they use those very gifts to manipulate, turning playfulness into a weapon. This clash of wills can create a toxic cycle that is hard to escape. The snake, terrified of losing control, tightens their grip. The monkey, suffocated by that grip, pulls further away. The more the snake demands loyalty, the more the monkey resists it. The more the monkey resists, the more the snake spirals into suspicion and control. What begins as love and admiration can spiral into a battle where each partner pushes the other deeper into their darkest patterns. It becomes a war not of fists, but of emotions, words, silence, and rebellion. And because both are Aries, their clashes are not subtle. They fight fiercely, passionately, without restraint. When the snake feels betrayed, they can become cold and punishing, withdrawing affection until the monkey feels starved. When the monkey feels trapped, they can retaliate with recklessness, making choices not out of desire but out of spite. Their arguments can be volcanic, explosive words, slammed doors, the kind of confrontations that leave both shaken but too proud to admit their pain. The danger here is that both partners, in their darker states, feed each other's worst qualities. The snake's controlling tendencies awaken the monkey's rebelliousness. The monkey's rebellion awakens the snake's manipulation. Instead of balancing each other, they drag each other into a spiral where trust crumbles and love becomes a battleground. And because neither easily admits fault, they can stay locked in this cycle longer than most couples would, each waiting for the other to yield. But these dark sides, as destructive as they can be, are not inevitable prisons. Both have the capacity to rise above their shadows, but it requires self-awareness and discipline. The snake must learn that over-calculating, over-managing, and over-controlling only poisons the very intimacy they crave. They must remember that love is not won through tests or traps, but through trust and openness. The monkey, on the other hand, must learn that boundaries are not cages, and that pushing against every rule only creates chaos that eventually burns them too. They must resist the urge to turn wit into cruelty or freedom into recklessness. If both partners can manage these darker impulses, the very traits that threaten to tear them apart can become their greatest lessons. The snake learns to loosen their grip, discovering that real security comes not from control but from mutual trust. The monkey learns to honor boundaries, discovering that true freedom is not about constant rebellion but about thriving within bonds that are chosen, not forced. The shadows of Aries Snake and Aries Monkey are sharp, yes, but they are also mirrors. Each partner forces the other to confront their own weaknesses, their own fears, and their own destructive habits. If they avoid those lessons, the relationship collapses under the weight of ego and mistrust. But if they face them, if they learn to navigate the darkness with honesty and humility, the shadows transform into stepping stones, making their bond stronger than before. The truth is that their dark sides are as much a part of their compatibility as their light. The snake's depth will always be shadowed by control, the monkey's playfulness by rebellion. They cannot erase these sides of themselves, but they can learn to master them. And in doing so, they may discover that the very challenges that once threatened to break them are what ultimately make their bond unshakable. Life goals. When it comes to life goals, Aries Snake and Aries Monkey often seem like two travelers standing at the same crossroads, both filled with ambition but gazing in opposite directions. They are united by the restless, blazing Aries spirit that refuses mediocrity, but their visions of success, their definitions of fulfillment, and their preferred paths forward are profoundly different. And it is within these differences that the beauty, and the friction, of their dynamic is revealed. The Aries Snake is a creature of depth, mastery, and influence. They are not easily swayed by fleeting trends or applause. What they seek in life is substance. Their goals are never shallow. They are carefully chosen, meaningful, and deeply rooted in their need to leave a lasting legacy. The snake craves impact, not necessarily the kind that comes from public fame, but the kind that reshapes lives, institutions, or systems quietly, almost invisibly. To them, the spotlight is not nearly as important as control, respect, and influence. They might be the power behind the throne, the quiet strategist who pulls the strings, or the master in their chosen craft who is remembered not for noise but for excellence. Every step they take toward their goals is measured, deliberate, and purposeful. The Aries Monkey, on the other hand, is fueled by variety, visibility, and excitement. Where the snake prefers consistency and mastery, the monkey thrives on change, challenge, and applause. Their life goals are rarely about creating a single legacy in one field. Instead, they want their life itself to feel like a performance, thrilling, unpredictable, filled with unexpected turns. They crave visibility, not necessarily because they are vain, but because they are energized by interaction, recognition, and the chance to inspire or entertain. For them, stagnation is a kind of death, and the idea of following a single straight path toward one fixed goal feels suffocating. Instead, they leap from one opportunity to the next, collecting experiences, victories, and stories like souvenirs from an endless journey. This contrast can, at first, seem like a fundamental clash. The snake looks at the monkey and thinks, too restless, too unfocused, too much energy wasted on things that don't last. The monkey looks at the snake and thinks, too serious, too slow, too cautious, life is too short to spend in shadows. And indeed, if both cling stubbornly to their own visions without respecting the others, their differences in life goals can create distance and even resentment. The snake may feel dragged into chaos, while the monkey may feel chained to stillness. But here's where the magic lies. Their goals don't necessarily clash. They can complement each other in powerful, transformative ways. The snake brings depth to the monkey's adventures. They remind the monkey that some achievements require patience, that some victories taste sweeter when they are earned slowly, and that life is not only about applause but also about meaning. The monkey, in return, ensures that the snake does not get trapped in endless planning or paralyzed by fear of imperfection. They push the snake to take risks, to leap without overthinking, to taste life in its full variety. Together, they can create a rhythm where the snake's steadiness grounds the monkey's chaos, and the monkey's daring ignites the snake's caution. In practice, this partnership in life goals might look like the monkey pulling the snake into opportunities they would never have pursued alone, while the snake helps the monkey focus enough to actually finish and build something lasting. For example, the monkey might have 10 new ideas for careers, projects, or adventures in a year, but the snake helps identify which 2 are truly worth investing in. At the same time, the monkey helps the snake take that first bold step toward a dream that otherwise might have been buried under endless analysis. Together, they transform ambition into action and action into legacy. Their joint potential is enormous, because they represent 2 sides of the same Aries coin. Aries energy is about courage, leadership, and pioneering spirit. The snake channels that energy inward, using it to master themselves and build structures of power that endure. The monkey channels it outward, using it to connect, inspire, and dazzle. When their life goals align, they become a power duo capable of both building empires and keeping those empires alive with innovation and charisma. Of course, the challenge is alignment. To truly succeed together, they must respect not only their differences but also their timing. The snake must resist the urge to dismiss the monkey's goals as frivolous, recognizing instead that variety and applause are fuel for the monkey's soul. The monkey must resist mocking the snake's seriousness, learning instead that depth and patience are what transform fleeting wins into long-term triumphs. If they find a shared vision, even if their paths toward it are different, their combined energy can push them toward accomplishments far greater than either could achieve alone. Their life goals also reveal something important about the nature of their bond. They are not just companions in love or business, they are teachers for one another. The snake teaches the monkey how to create meaning in a world that can sometimes feel shallow. The monkey teaches the snake how to live fully in the moment, embracing change and unpredictability without fear. And so, their life together becomes not just about what they achieve, but about how they grow in the pursuit of those goals. At its best, this pairing allows them to write a story that is both profound and thrilling. The snake ensures that their lives leave a mark on the world, a legacy of mastery and influence that cannot be erased. The monkey ensures that their lives are also vibrant, joyful, and filled with adventure, a story worth telling, not just for its ending but for every colorful chapter along the way. Together, they prove that life goals do not have to be identical to be compatible. In fact, it is their very differences that allow them to build a shared life that is richer, bolder, and more complete than either could create alone. Final conclusions. So, what does it all mean? The Aries Snake and Aries Monkey compatibility is like a high-speed roller coaster cutting through the sky at sunset, thrilling and unpredictable, with moments of breathtaking exhilaration and sudden turns that leave your heart racing. Their relationship is never ordinary. It is magnetic in its allure, drawing each other in with a pull that feels as if the universe itself conspired to make them collide. Every interaction carries an intensity that is impossible to ignore, a fire igniting in the core of both souls. When love blooms between them, it is deep, passionate, and all-consuming, marked by moments of tenderness that surprise even themselves. Yet, just as often, conflict erupts with the ferocity of storms on an open sea, their tempers flaring as each tests boundaries, navigates jealousy, or confronts hidden insecurities. The volatility is part of their charm. It makes them feel alive, engaged, and irresistibly connected. Their sex life is electrifying, almost cinematic in its intensity. It's the kind of chemistry that doesn't just exist, it crackles and sparks in every glance, touch, and whispered word. Aries Snake brings a calculated, teasing energy, weaving a tapestry of seduction and anticipation, while Aries Monkey injects spontaneous joy, playful daring, and unpredictable adventures that keep desire constantly evolving. Every encounter becomes a dynamic exploration of passion, a dance of fire and curiosity that never dulls with repetition. This intimacy is not merely physical, it's a profound expression of understanding, desire, and the thrill of 2 strong personalities learning to synchronize without losing their individuality. Friendship between an Aries Snake and Aries Monkey is equally compelling, marked by loyalty, wit, and shared adventures. They can support each other in ways that feel natural and invigorating. The snake admires the monkey's cleverness, adaptability, and humor, finding inspiration in their infectious energy and creative problem-solving. The monkey, in turn, finds grounding in the snake's intelligence, intuition, and calculated approach to life, appreciating a partner who sees beneath the surface and offers guidance when life's chaos threatens to overwhelm. Together, their friendship becomes a sanctuary of mutual respect, laughter, and encouragement, a bond that can survive trials and temptations because it thrives on honesty, shared experiences, and an understanding of each other's unique rhythms. In business, this pairing can be unstoppable, a combination of brains, charisma, and relentless energy. The snake's strategic thinking, patience, and ability to read situations accurately complement the monkey's inventiveness, charm, and agility in navigating unexpected challenges. Their collaborative efforts can lead to innovation, success, and ventures that others might consider too risky, but which they approach with a mixture of calculated boldness and inspired spontaneity. However, the very intensity that drives their success can also create friction. Clashes over control, credit, and direction are common unless both acknowledge and respect the strengths each brings to the table. When they learn to align their visions, the results are not just profitable, they are extraordinary, often leaving a lasting mark on those who witness their partnership. Yet, their shadows, control, manipulation, rebellion, and recklessness, loom large if left unchecked. The snake's tendency toward secrecy and subtle dominance can clash with the monkey's need for freedom, unpredictability, and independence. Impulsiveness and a desire to push boundaries can result in reckless decisions, emotional upheavals, or conflict escalation that damages the bond if not addressed. Self-awareness, communication, and conscious effort to honor each other's boundaries are crucial. If they fail to manage these darker aspects, their relationship risks devolving into a cycle of power struggles, misunderstandings, and emotional turbulence. Yet, with maturity, they can transform these shadows into lessons, using challenges as opportunities for growth, connection, and deeper understanding. At the end of the day, this pairing thrives when both partners embrace their differences as complementary strengths rather than obstacles. The snake adds depth, wisdom, and mystery, creating layers of understanding and emotional richness that fascinate the monkey. The monkey adds humor, spontaneity, and charm, lightening the snake's intensity and reminding them to enjoy the moment. Together, they embody the best of Aries fire while balancing it with very different Chinese zodiac energies, one calculated and insightful, the other playful and adventurous. Their contrasting qualities, when harmonized, create a dynamic synergy that is both powerful and refreshing, a constant source of inspiration for growth, love, and shared adventures. In short, when Aries Snake and Aries Monkey learn to dance together instead of pulling apart, they create a relationship that is not just powerful but unforgettable. It is a partnership that challenges, excites, and nurtures, a union where passion meets intelligence, spontaneity meets strategy, and love is experienced in its richest, most exhilarating form. Their journey is one of discovery, compromise, and celebration, proving that when two fiery spirits embrace both the light and dark within themselves and each other, they can craft a connection that leaves an indelible mark on their hearts and on the world around them.